So, as I have read before, Themba Mliswa has actually urged Emerson Mnangagwa, in simple terms, to swiftly consider firing retired General Chiwenga individuals such as Chris Mswango, who are seemingly rebellious against him and in some way, according to him, disturbing the progress that Mnangagwa could possibly make, saying these are actually standing on his way. And the mind-boggling question is, if ever that crosses the mind of Mnangagwa, will it mean Chiwenga would have been neutralized as well as his faction? The firing of Chiwenga, is it a good idea? Will it coup-proof Emerson Mnangagwa? These and more would be analyzed on this live broadcast without reading anything. Now I just want to deal with those questions and make sure that I'm done. Greetings and welcome to your lovely channel, the Hloniphani Global News. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. So, in the event now, Mnangagwa listens to Themba Mliswa, what Themba Mliswa has written, calling him to swiftly act, going to an extent of giving case studies on how Robert Gabriel Mugabe used to deal with perceived internal revolts within the political party ZANU-PF. Now, I must say that as much as Robert Gabriel Mugabe was doing so, even during the faction of Mnangagwa, he was also targeting those aligning themselves with Mnangagwa through obviously his wife, Grace Mugabe, who was actually calling the show at that time, maybe because Mugabe's age was taking toll on him. We saw the embarrassment that Grace Mugabe was actually doing, especially to the perceived political rivals of then Robert Gabriel Mugabe. But the truth of the matter, when it came with actually taking out the man who was the kingpin of that faction, that was Emerson Mnangagwa, we know what that exactly triggered. So, in actually seeking to understand the consequences of taking retired General Chuenga out of the political picture, because he has raised concerns with the government of Emerson Mnangagwa, because he is not, in fact, what Themba Mliswa portrays as actually a rival to Mnangagwa. Chiwenga so far has not been a rival to Mnangagwa. What the man has been doing is to please stick to the deal. You know the deal when we were nothing politically, we resuscitated you. You know we had a deal. Stick to that deal. And to Emerson Mnangagwa, he wants nothing to do with that. That is why he started with building parallel structures. They were promised to have a political heaven and earth that is to be integrated within ZANU-PF. And that is why Mnangagwa worked with those with money, because in his views, he thought that with money, he was able to actually control the situation. That is why he had to create institutions such as Mutapa Investments, which were not going to follow normal procurement procedures. And in such a way, this was a strategy to actually make the Zwikanandas to be rich. And in the process, Zwikanandas will help him to build a political base. He has done so, but I have repeated numerous times that in ZANU-PF, I've heard a lot of even Themba Mliswa advising Chiwenga that he should have gone to the grassroots and actually built his support. ZANU-PF, succession has never been determined by the gullible supporters of ZANU-PF, because those people, they follow orders. They are not there as supporters with powers like maybe ANC members or any democratic political party members that we know, whereby if they are not concerned they can actually protest within the party, use proper channels, and eventually win. In Zimbabwe, when it comes to succession, the military has a say. It is actually the institution that has the big say. Now, if Mnangagwa take away, I've said that Chiwenga should not be perceived as an individual. He should be perceived as an institution. And in my view, seniority in military does not start with the current commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. How they respect each other in military, even if you are a senior retired general, all personnel in the military regard you as a senior. They still salute you. They call each other chefs in the. We are back. So I was at the moment, as much as Sibanda was regarded the general at that time, but because Chuenga was ahead of him and he is still alive, he is considered as a senior within the military ranks. They call him chef. So also, as much as at the moment there is Matatu, he is heading the military, he considers individuals such as Banda as his seniors. That's how it works in the world of the military. So at the moment, we know that Mnangagwa may be reshuffling, thinking that if we put a general, someone to command the military, that is his ally, then he would remember in terms of military support, he will need both the retired as well as the active serving members. Because in military, you don't retire and go and it's done with you. No. You are part of what we call a reserved army. If there is a need to go back, you can be called at any time. You are on duty until you die. Even as a retired, you can be called back to active duty and be deployed. So that's how it works. So if they fire, and I'm trying to build the perspective that Chiwenga is an institution. Equally so, that is why you see is supported by individuals such as Ethan Matibela, leading a war veterans movement. Yes, that is not affiliated to ZANU-PF, but because he's a war veteran, he regards Chiwenga as his senior militarily, because being a war veteran does not mean that you are no longer a military personnel. These are people with military skills. There is always a relationship between the military as well as the war veterans. Back then, elections in Zimbabwe had to be rigged by the military. Now, if you look at what the military was working with, they were working with war veterans. War veterans were going to the community, beating up people. I think that's the truth, of which they acknowledged and apologized about that. We hope they are sincere. We will look at their actions going into the future. So that's the reality. The military is intertwined with war veterans. At the moment, don't ever think Blessed Geza is acting as an individual to stand against Emmerson Tambuzo Mnangagwa. That is why he will stand up, hiding wherever he is, and speak something on ground. War veterans will actually listen to the commands of Blessed Geza, and obviously there would be the Mnangagwa arsenal would be activated and sometimes arrest them, but sometimes not. So there is a coordination between. So if Mnangagwa, he knows it very, very well. If he take out Chiwenga, it would be like Mugabe taking out Mnangagwa at that time. Because Mnangagwa managed somehow to work with the military and positioned himself as obviously a fake senior during that particular period, and someone who could be trusted, someone who could bring change, a change that would translate to improvement in the livelihoods of the war veterans. But Mnangagwa, being the proper word, the devil in courts as he is, what did he do? He secretly dealt with generals one by one, sending them to the graves. By God's grace, somehow, Chiwenga survived. And when he came back, definitely, I'm sure he is still pursuing justice up to today. But it's a big process under circumstances, because you have to deal with someone with the state powers. So once he is taken out, the moment he is taken out, then I think that would be a defining moment in the body politics of Zimbabwe. Taking him out, it doesn't mean that he would not have other actually enemies within these two institutions, the military as well as the war veterans. So in my view, it does not help him. It doesn't help him to take him out. And even keeping him, it doesn't help him either way. Because still what he intends to do, he can potentially do it. At the moment, from the look of things, relations between Mnangagwa and Chiwenga as well as war veterans, these are apart. It's quite clear. And the window for dialogue, I think it has been closed. It no longer exists at the moment. So what we are waiting for is for the other faction to make a miscalculated decision, and all hell will break loose. So this is my 2 cents knowledge regarding that. Thank you very much for watching us. If you are watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button, so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. You can financially support this channel by pressing the join button and be part of our members who are the heartbeat of this channel. You can equally do so by pressing the thanks button and send us stars. Yo, ngize ngikhulume ngome kangaka bakithi kungabi lo muntu onithumela ama stars. Let me have and leave you. Let's meet on the other side.